Hey guys, I'm Kara and welcome back to Fish Biz 101. This is part 3 of a 4-part series we've been doing on how to successfully set up a planet aquarium. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, go watch those first. The link will be in the description, but today we're going to be talking about the nitrogen cycle in your aquarium. When you first set up an aquarium, your tank's going to go through what's called the nitrogen cycle. And basically what that is you're establishing a colony of beneficial bacteria in your filter, and we want that bacteria, and it's what keeps your aquarium cycled. It's what keeps it clean. That bacteria is going to break down the fish waste and convert it to less harmful materials. I'm not going to go too in depth on this, but if you want to learn more about the nitrogen cycle, watch Chuck's video that we made several weeks ago. So today we're going to test our water. My tank has had fish in it for 1 week now. I'm probably not going to see a whole lot on the water test, but for the sake of today's video and showing you guys how to test your water, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So to do that, we're going to use the Aquarium test kit, and this is the test kit we prefer. It's super duper accurate. You don't have to buy this whole entire kit. You can buy the kits individually as well. So the first thing that we're going to test for is ammonia. Ammonia is the first stage in the nitrogen cycle. You generally see it about 1 to 2 weeks after putting fish in your aquarium. My fish have only been in this tank a week. I really might not see any, but I'm going to test it anyway to show you guys how to test for it. To test ammonia, we're going to take one of these vials and we're going to fill it up with 10 milliliters of our aquarium water. Now that we have our water, we're going to start adding the drops to the vial of water. So the first thing you want to do is take part 1. There are 3 parts in the ammonia test. Each one is 6 drops into the vial of water. If you were doing this for saltwater, you would do 5 milliliters of water instead of 10, but we're doing fresh. So 10 milliliters of water and 6 of each drop. Alright, so I've added my drops. Now I'm just going to shake it up a little bit and I'm going to wait. It's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes before we have an accurate reading, so while that's developing, I'm going to go ahead and start testing for the other ones. Now I'm going to test for nitrates. Nitrates is the last step in the nitrogen cycle, and the reason I'm testing for it second is because it takes just as long as the ammonia test, so I'm going to go ahead and do it so that it's developing while I'm doing the other ones. But for this test, we're also going to need 10 milliliters of water. So for the nitrate test, there are 4 steps this time, 3 liquids and 1 powder. So the first step is 6 drops of bottle number 1. The second step is 6 drops of bottle number 2. Now step 3 is the powder. You're going to get like a tiny little vial of this gray powder and then the teeniest spoon you could think of, and you're just going to get a level measure of this small spoon. Once you've added the powder, you're going to shake up your vial just a little bit. This powder is not going to dissolve, it's just going to sink to the bottom. And then we're going to add part 4, and that's 1 more liquid, and you're going to add 6 more drops of that. Now just shake it up like the ammonia one and leave it alone for 5 to 10 minutes, then come back and review your results. And now I'm going to go back to step 2 in the nitrogen cycle, which are nitrates. This test is a lot easier than the other ones. You only have 2 parts and you're going to need to get 5 milliliters of water. So first we're going to add 5 drops of bottle number 1. And then we're going to add 5 drops of bottle number 2. Then you're just going to shake it up a little bit, and this test actually, the results are immediate, so you can read it right after shaking it up. So now that it has been at least 10 minutes and our ammonia and our nitrate test has developed, we're going to read the results. So the ammonia looks to be about 0. It might be slightly green, but I'm pretty sure it's 0, and that's what I expected to see since the fish haven't been in there very long. And then the nitrites are 0, and our nitrates are also 0. And just to read this test, all you do is just compare it to the color chart. So we've tested our water, and those were pretty standard results considering our tank's only been up for a week. I would recommend testing your water at least once a week, and you're also going to want to make sure that you are testing your pH alongside of that. I didn't test my pH because I just checked it last week, but now you're going to want to start checking it every week to make sure that your pH stays stable. Sometimes during a cycle a pH tends to drop, and we want to make sure it doesn't drop so that your cycle doesn't get halted. So next week I'd recommend checking your tank again. You're probably going to see your ammonia rise. You still probably won't see any nitrites or nitrates. That usually happens 3 to 6 weeks. After your tank has been set up anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks, when your ammonia has risen and your nitrites have risen and they've both dropped back down to 0 and all that's left are nitrates in the tank, that means your tank is cycled, and that means you are ready to add all your other fish. And for tanks, like I said, it usually takes 3 to 6 weeks. Sometimes it can take longer. It really just depends on each individual tank, so we want to make sure your tank is cycled before we add any more fish. The last thing I wanted to talk about in today's video is just feeding your fish. We recommend feeding your fish once a day, and you're going to feed them about as much as they're going to eat in 45 seconds. And you don't want to overfeed your fish, or you're just going to create a lot of waste in your tank. If you see any leftover flakes just kind of rolling around on the bottom and your fish aren't touching them, that means you've overfed, so feed less next time. That concludes part 3 of this series. I'll see you guys next week for part 4. Make sure you like our Facebook, follow our Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye!